Hello, I'm Chris Scher, Member Communications Director of the Society of Broadcast Engineers. Welcome to the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the Web. This is a monthly SBE meeting usually held on the third Monday of the month. The SBE is the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals, with nearly 4,000 members, mostly in the U.S., but also around the world. In 2016, the SBE launched the Mentor Program. The program is designed to help broadcast engineers who are new to the field by partnering a new engineer with a more seasoned professional. This allows the more experienced person to share his or her gained knowledge, both empirical and practical, with someone new to the field. Our guest today is Pierre Jaspar, who chairs the SBE Mentoring Committee. We'll talk to him and get all the details on the SBE Mentor Program. But before we do, I have the SBE member update for November 18, 2024. Webinars by SBE continues to add new webinars. The next two coming up are Indoor Production Lighting for Broadcast Engineers Part 4. It'll be presented November 21st at 2 p.m. Cindy Cavell of Capital Airspace Group, C. Webster Marsh of Penumbra Controls, and Javid Butler of HDR Consulting bring the final installment of this four-part series to a close by bringing all the pieces together. Lighting color samples will also be discussed. And then in December, the 2024 Workbench Tips, a free webinar courtesy of SCMS, will be presented on December 12th at 2 p.m. John Bissett, the author of Radio World's popular column and Telos Alliance Western Regional Sales Manager, brings his popular tips as well as strategies to inform management of the crucial role you play at your stations. Also, you can always access the entire library of webinars by SBE presentations on demand. For information on these and all the webinars by SBE, go to sbe.org/webinars. The next chapter exam window is in February. The application date for those exams is January 3rd. You can also arrange to take an SBE certification exam at any time via private proctoring. And also the Diamond Project is still underway. If your SBE certification lapsed before January 1st, 2023, you can reobtain it without taking an exam. Get all those details at sbe.org/Diamond Project, but do it before December 31st. More information on SBE certification is online, sbe.org/certification. The Society of Broadcast Engineers has released broadcast station self-inspection guides for AM, FM, and TV broadcast stations. These guides are designed to aid stations and Alternative Broadcast Inspection Program, or ABIP inspectors, in evaluating a broadcast station's compliance with FCC rules and regulations. The FM and TV versions were released in April, and the AM version was released in September. The guides are available for free download by SBE and NAB members as a member benefit. Get more information at sbe.org/self-inspection. And that is your member update for November 18, 2024. As I mentioned at the opening, the SBE Mentor Program is designed to help broadcast engineers who are new to the field. The program partners a new engineer with a more seasoned professional. This allows the more experienced person to share his or her gained knowledge, as I said, empirical or practical, with someone new to the field. The SBE Member Program provides a means for SBE members to share knowledge and experience. For the seasoned mentor, it's a chance to give something back. For the freshman mentee, it's an ideal way to gain inside knowledge and understanding that can sometimes take years to accumulate. Partnerships last for a year, but can go longer. Our guest today is Pierre Jaspar, the chair of the SBE Mentoring Committee. Welcome, Pierre.
Hey, good afternoon, Chris.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So you have been the chair of the Mentoring Committee for about a year now, and you were appointed to that by SBE President Ted Hand. Let's get to know you a little bit more. Where are you from? What do you do? Where do you work? And we'll go from there.
Yep. So born and raised in Brussels, Belgium, which is very far away from where I live nowadays, which is Miami, Florida. So it's been a long path over here. I had the opportunity to by my family to go and study in the U.S. and I came to the University of Florida in Gainesville. And once I graduated, I went on to see what I was going to do with my life. And an opportunity came up in Latin America, in Venezuela. That's where I learned Spanish. And many people don't know where I get my Spanish from. And so I stayed there for 4 years, and things were not getting better in Venezuela. Actually, we're getting all complicated through turmoil. and decided to move on. I had an opportunity to do the Olympic Games in '92 in Spain, or join a system integrator in Miami. And obviously picked the Miami one, and came to Miami in October of 1990. I've been here ever since. And nowadays, I'm the VP corporate for Spanish broadcasting. We own 22 radio stations and 5 TV stations across the U.S.
Okay. Well, I won't hold the fact that you went to the University of Florida against you, since I went to the
I know
University of
UM, and
Miami.
back then they were really rivals. Actually, when I was in college, we never lost against UM, and I think the last year is when we finally lost.
Yeah, always been the rivalry. I couldn't tell you the stats after when I was going to school anymore, but those people who know me also know I'm a huge sports ball fan. So, go sports ball is my phrase. So, like I mentioned at the top, you've been involved in you've been the chair of the mentoring committee for the last year. What got you interested in working on the mentor program in the first place?
I think because I had a great mentor, back in my Venezuelan days. The person that took me under his wing, his name was Franco Frenza, an amazing engineer that had a very deep and wide knowledge. He had a double E degree, he had a civil engineer degree, a mechanical engineering degree. So the first task he gave me as a mentee was to design, or we're designing an FM station network. And he asked me to design the electrical panel. And I said, no, but I mean, I want to, buy consoles. I want to get it. So I said, no, just focus on the electrical panel. Obviously, for you to design the electrical panel, you had to design everything else that connected to that panel. So basically, it was a very interesting way of getting you into the brunt of the storm to design the station. And it was a person I really respected and learned so much from it. And always wanted to be a mentor for some other people. And so I joined the mentor program at SBE about 2.5 years ago, and then joined the committee. And then, as you said earlier, Ted asked me to be the chair of it last September. Not this September, September before, so about a year and a half ago.
Sure. Very good. So you're kind of thrown into the deep end of the pool, is what I was going to say, with being told to design the whole electrical panel and circuitry involved in that. That's some.
That was an interesting way of exactly the interesting way of designing it.
And I won't question the end result. I'm sure you did a fine job.
It came out pretty good.
The place didn't burn down, right?
The place didn't burn down, and the stations went on the air. So
very good. Excellent. Well, we touched on a little bit of the history of the mentor program, but there is a little bit more background. Would you like to share any of that? And Suncast, we can probably look at that first slide for some info too. I know the roots go back to 2016, for instance.
You mentioned it was created back then, and I think it came from the offspring of a couple of mentors back then.
Very good. As we also can note that in time it's grown. We've gotten more and more participants involved, both mentors and mentees. I know in the very beginning, in fact, I was a staff liaison when it started originally. We had a lot more mentees than mentors, and so everybody was doubled up. All the mentors were at least doubled, sometimes tripled or even quadrupled.
They still are. I mean, if you look at the list of mentors, we still have triple, or double mentees per mentor. So obviously, we do have a major need for mentors. Mostly in large cities, I would say New York, Chicago, LA, Miami, all the big markets. I would say the top 10, 15 markets. We're very short on mentors. And also we're short on TV mentors. So we are, I would say, 80-20, 80% radio mentors and 20% TV mentors. And
Gotcha.
but I want to bring, to the point of this, the really the great support from the director of education from SBE, Kathy. She really, really supports us and does an amazing job to bring together the mentees and the mentors. So.
Yeah, she does. So, as far as the mentor participation, there are two types of mentors that are two types of participation for mentors that are available. Tell us about that. Tell us about the two types of mentors.
So we have, basically the mentors that are more focused on RF or TV, and then the other ones that are more, focused on radio, based on their knowledge and based on also what they do. And additional to that, we've created last year, we created what we call the SME. So for people that don't want to dedicate it too much time as being a mentor or do not have time to be a mentor, they become what we call them a subject matter expert. So let's say you're an expert at a special product, automation, radio automation product. You're one of the best in with the knowledge for that product. You become an SME, and then the mentor, if he doesn't know all the knowledge based on that, will reach out to you. You'll be basically, like a help, like a saving grace to be able to direct the mentee to the right direction. And that's
Gotcha.
very interesting, part of the program that hasn't been used as we expected yet.
So, always looking for mentors, and especially SME mentors at this point, whatever your discipline is, and it can be more than one, whether it's RF, automation, IT, etc.
Correct.
Basically, the call is out there. And as was noted on the slide, you can serve in both or either roles. Um, it's not a one or the other. If you really want to do both and help in even more ways than one, you certainly can. What's the best way for somebody to get involved?
Well, I think to reach out to our webpage and fill in the application, either the SME application or the mentor application. And to your point, Chris, most of the SMEs nowadays are actually mentors also. So, that's the idea was to separate the two. So.
But as we get more involved, hopefully some of that responsibility can be shared across the board and not
Exactly.
going back to our own well, so to speak.
Exactly.
So, and we've noted that the relationships typically last about a year. In some cases, they've gone longer. I know that, but the target is about a year. Tell me about the process of pairing. How do you put a mentee with a mentor? And
so when the requests come into to SBE, usually we get a mentee request, and then we'll try to pair that person with the most, either closest geographically or the one that has the best knowledge to pair with that mentee. It's not always easy because sometimes you may have someone in the LA area which is a radio focused mentor, but the mentee is actually looking for a TV background. So you have to pair with someone else that would not be local to him. So the relationship changes a little bit, and they will have to get involved either by Zoom meetings or Teams. The one-on-one personal relationship disappears.
Gotcha. How often do you recommend that mentors and mentees get together? How frequently?
I will say no less than twice a month. Weekly would be desirable, but I would say no less than twice a month.
Okay.
Even if it's just to a chit chat or go over what's been happening in the mentees world and see how you can help. One of the mentees I have is based in the Bahamas, and we get together every 2 weeks, and sometimes it's just questions that he has on, he's going to do a live event like he did some baseball event a couple of weeks ago. He was asking, what would be the best way to do it, and then you bring in your knowledge and trying to advise him on the do's and don'ts.
Sure. And I assume that there are times where the conversation isn't, I mean, it's obviously always professional, but not solely related to audio production or camera maintenance or whatever the case might be. There's probably some career advice.
Correct. Yeah.
Perhaps
That was
even,
one of the points with him. It was, wanting to see how you can grow on the management side of the business.
Very good. I'm going to step to the side a little bit. We also have another program at the SBE, the Technical Professional Training Program, and part of that is to not only get somebody in the fold as an SBE member, but part of the TPT includes enrollment in the mentor program. So by joining through the Technical Professional Training TPT, you become a member, you're enrolled in as a mentee. There are some other elements and benefits involved as well. But that's another way to come in, not just straight, consider them younger members to the SBE that are enrolling into the mentor program. So there is another outlet as well. Anything else on pairings you can think of? Any unusual, any interesting stories? What anything you can share on that? I was even going to say,
well, I mean,
any
to the
experience?
TPT point you brought in, that's how I got into the program. One of
Okay.
my engineers here joined the TPT program, which the company paid for, and he said, "No, but I want Pierre to be my mentor." And Kathy said, "Well, he's not on the list," so I applied, joined in the mentor program. That's how I joined the club.
Well, we're glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we can I guess kind of touch on what it takes to be a mentor or a mentee. Starting out with I guess let's look at the mentors first. What does one need to do to become a mentor? Excuse me.
Well, I think you need, first of all, you need to, besides, the theory behind that, 5 years or greater experience in the broadcast industry is very, very important. But I think it's a desire to yourself grow. I mean, by, teaching and providing guidance and support to a younger engineer, and sharing your knowledge. I think it makes you grow personally, and it brings, the positive part of your job, and you see the results. I mean, through my life, I've seen three of the mentees, basically made grow through the years, and one of them is, a high-ranking executive engineer at Telemundo, and I had lunch with him last week, and it's amazing what the kid is doing. Another one is a director of support for a big French company. So it's very, very, I think it indulges you to see how they grow from being students or being regular, engineers to be executive and growing into the industry.
Excellent. I was going to ask if we knew of any good success stories from mentees who have moved on and moved up the ladder and moved up the ranks into greater success. Any mentees that are now mentors themselves, since the program's been around for 8 years plus, that you know
Oh,
of?
they are. And I think part of the list that we have, I would say maybe 10-15% are they're coming back into it. Yeah. I think
Excellent.
Andy Gladding, which is part of our mentor list, was a mentee and became a mentor. So trying to convince my three best success to be mentors. Haven't been successful on that yet.
Keep working on them. We'll get them there.
No doubt, yeah.
So on the mentee side, we've got some information on what it takes to be a mentee for those who are interested in enrolling as well.
Yep. So basically, it would be any engineer or anyone in the industry with less than 5 years experience, the need to desire, the desire to learn, the desire to grow, and be able to bring feedback back to the mentor, or what they need, or what, or how they see their direction and their future to go through. And I think one of the major part of the mentee needs is to be open to learn, open to understand that they don't know everything, and the mentor can guide them through the experience and the things that he has seen, the do's and don'ts of the industry.
Absolutely. I know the mentor program does a series of webinars for participants each quarter. A webinar is held. Tell me about some of the webinars and what's the goal of those?
So the goal of those, and actually we had very interesting ones. The last one we had was on November 6th from a dear friend of mine about grounding. The superstition of how you ground the station, how you ground a transmitter side, and it basically broke the taboos and showed the industry that there's other ways to do things. And we had one at the beginning of the year on how to do the basic maintenance of your station, what you need to do regularly to maintain it in good shape. We had an HD radio basics webinar also. So basically it's to try to bring webinars to the mentees so that they see new technologies and new grounds for them to grow.
And so there's an opportunity there as well. If somebody would like to be involved, but perhaps being a mentor just doesn't really work with their schedule, perhaps they could provide a webinar. And I'd say they should
Correct.
contact you or Kathy and suggest the topic or idea and see if it's something that could be put into a webinar for a mentor program webinar. And if it's higher level, it could be a regular webinars by SBE as well. So there might be another
Exactly.
opportunity inside there. So could go even farther. Excellent. So we've mentioned Kathy a few times, Kathy Oros, the education director at the SBE. Tell me about her job. What responsibilities does she get to handle as far as the mentor program goes?
So in the mentor program, she's the one that receives all the requests and then funnels all down to me. And then together we pair the mentee and the mentor, and I keep track of them. So she will later on follow up with the mentee, making sure that everything is riding smoothly, and the same with the mentor. She also organizes all the events together with me. The webinars, as you mentioned, we have what we call the happy hour, which is basically a non-recorded open session where the mentors and the mentee can discuss different topics they want to discuss, and every single one of them has been quite interesting. So I throw in an open topic, and then the open floor, and people really start learning from it, and it grows by itself.
I had seen the mention of happy hour meetings, and I haven't attended one, and I was curious what they were about. Obviously, it's virtual, so we won't hear any clinking glasses like one might think in a typical
Not at
happy
all.
hour. But that's good to know, that the open forum, just a chance to go over the broad elements that anybody can learn from, share more experiences farther and wider, and get involved in that. So
Correct.
that's great. That's great. Have you experienced any mentor-mentee pairings that I'm sure not every relationship is going to work right out of the gate, and are there times where a pairing is perhaps reevaluated and some trade-off happens?
They are usually it's because the mentee expectation would be in one field, and maybe the mentor wasn't the one fulfilling that field to their level. But I mean, it's very, very minor. I mean, I would say we may have 5 to 10% mispairing issues.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, it's easy to resolve. All the mentee has to do is speak up, and I'm sure they could work it out, and then you and Kathy can reevaluate
Correct,
as
exactly.
well.
Usually they reach
Do
out to
some training.
Kathy, and then we'll reevaluate the pairing and try to accommodate. And I will say most of the mentees are renewing. So in my case, one mentee has been with me for 2.5 years, and the other one joined about 8 or 9 months ago. So I'm pretty sure they're going to renew. So.
Very good. So tell me, what is a typical when you meet with one of your mentees? What's a typical meeting like, and how long does it last? What's it usually involved? How does it go?
All different. The two mentees I have. One mentee, I really tried to. I mean, and his desire was to get certified, so we focus on the certification process and answering questions and going through the exercise with him. The other mentee is the one that I was saying that wants to learn more about management and operation. So two different way of attacking each one of the session. The one in the last one with the management is more open conversation, going through the issues he had in the last week or two or so since we talked, and guide him and direct him to do it. On the other cases, it's going through the exercise and get him certified.
Excellent. So on your management oriented or focused mentee, perhaps he or she will enroll in our leadership development course one day. Seems like a natural
And I think
progression path.
that's a good point. I need to
So,
propose that to him. Yeah.
excellent. And your other mentee on the certification side, that sounds like an excellent opportunity for your mentee. I think all mentees should definitely take advantage of that. Learn about our certification process and whether it's operator level to start out, video or radio operator, or jump right into technologist. Neither require
Yeah, in
any
this case,
experience. So
we're trying to get him as a broadcast broadcast engineer, CBT.
the CBT, excellent, very good. Cool. So, is there anything else we haven't touched on that you think is important that we should relay as far as the mentor
No, I think
program and mentoring goes?
the fact that I think the myth that mentors take a lot of time out of your daily life, and and actually it's a conversation like you will have during the day with any other colleague. So I think sparing 1 hour or max an hour and a half every 2 weeks is not that bad, and really there's so much knowledge out there that would be wasted not to be shared with the mentees, because our engineering population is getting older very fast, and we need to create a new generation. If not, that the whole knowledge is going to disappear.
And as you said, we're always looking for mentors, and not to kind of push one way or the other. What areas in particular are you looking for mentors in? What technology areas specifically, more so than others?
I will say television is still the weakest one we have.
Okay.
People that can show up, and it's interesting because more and more producers and people in the production side of it are trying to get to know more about engineering. So they've become the mentees, and they're trying to get someone to guide them on engineering part of TV production, TV broadcast.
Great. Well, those of you watching, take note, especially if you're a TV-oriented guy, TV, and video production.
We need you.
We want you. Yes, we want you. And if and that's again not to exclude the radio, audio, IT, etc.
I don't know for sure.
Side of things. So all mentees, all mentors are welcome. So great. Look forward to welcoming more people on board. Well, I've covered the points that I wanted to make sure we addressed. One more opportunity. Anything else you think we need to touch on before we bring this one to a close?
No, I mean, I think, as you just said, we welcome mentors and mentees. The more we can grow that section, I think, is really what is going to grow the industry and grow the people by themselves. Because, when you become a mentor, it also makes you, exercise your knowledge, and then you start working on, I knew this, but let me, study it again and just review it. And so, it's a refreshing exercise that is very good for mentors also.
Great. Well, I'll put some contact info and links to the mentor program in the show notes on this when the replay is posted to the SBE YouTube channel. So I want to thank you for your time today, Pierre. It was good to talk to you a little bit more in depth about this and share some of the information. Hopefully we'll get a plethora of people signing up right away, and you'll hit your mentor quota right off the bat.
Exactly. I hope so. And thank you for inviting me, Chris.
So absolutely. Well, that's one of the functions of the WEBxtra is we want to try to you put a little more focus on some of the SBE programs and projects that we have going on. We always point people to the website. We point them to the Signal. But still, there's more information we can certainly share and more interest we can drum up to get the word out about what we're doing and why we're doing it. Hopefully,
Exactly.
Participation in the process. So once again, I appreciate your time with me this afternoon, and I'm glad you could join me on the SBE WEBxtra. So with that, I'll say thanks for watching the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web. From the Society of Broadcast Engineers, the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals. Once again, Pierre, thanks for being with me. If you hold SBE certification, viewing the SBE WEBxtra qualifies you for 1/2 point in Category G, that's attendance. It's just like attending a local chapter meeting. And if you have an idea for a topic or a guest for the SBE WEBxtra, send it to webextra@sbe.org, and we'll get right back to you. Once again, thanks for watching. I'm Chris Scher, SBE Member Communications Director, and we'll see you next month.